Well, welcome to Newcastle Borough Council's Cabinet meeting today. Welcome to Cabinet members in the room. We've got Councillor Jill Heatham, Portfolio Holder for Community Safety and Wellbeing. We've got Councillor Trevor Johnson, Portfolio Holder for Environment and Recycling. And we've got Councillor Jill Waring, Portfolio Holders for Leisure, Culture and Heritage. And Deputy Leader Stephen Sweeney, with a big long title of Portfolio Holder for Finance, Town Centres and Growth. And I'm Council Leader Simon Tagg. We have apologies today from Councillor Paul Northcott, who's Strategic Planning Portfolio Holder, and we will note those as part of Agenda Item 1. But also welcome to our officers in the room today, and also to anybody that is viewing this on YouTube. If you'd like to see our agenda, there's a link in the section below the video. So item 1 is apologies. We'll agree the apologies of Paul Northcott. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest for items on the agenda from Cabinet members? Everybody's saying no. Item 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting, now attached 3 to 4. Can we agree those as a correct record? Thank you. Moving to our first item of business today, the Wally's Quarry odour issues. We've got a report similar to what we've had at the last few meetings, which gives an update on the ongoing issues with Wally's Quarry. But the big issue today, which I want to start off with, is the court hearing that took place this afternoon at 2 o'clock at the Magistrates Court in Newcastle, where legal teams of the Borough Council and Wally's Quarry Limited, formerly Red Industries, appeared in court in what is the first of a series of court hearings to deal with the appeal lodged by Wally's Quarry against the council's abatement notice. Now, the abatement notice, as you remember, requires the landfill operator to prevent foul odours beyond the boundaries of the site. The purpose of the hearing at the Magistrates Court today was to set out a timetable for what needs to happen next to prepare the case for a 4-week trial starting on the 6th of June 2022. 2 other court dates were also set, which is the 9th of February to deal with any issues around the evidence in the case, and another on the 13th of May 2022, where the court will review the case, carry out a site visit and make final arrangements for the trial. In court this afternoon, the judge placed a requirement on Wally's Quarry Limited and also on the council to exchange a raft of documents and witness statements that had been agreed by the council and Wally's Quarry to build in a space for expert evaluation of that evidence by, particularly as far as we're concerned, by the legal team of the council. I was in attendance today, so was Deputy Leader Stephen Sweeney. And for me, today marks the first step in the trial, and it was encouraging to see a path for the case laid out by the judge. The legal process is not something that we've entered into lightly, and it should be remembered that we are taking this action on behalf of our communities who have suffered unnecessarily for so long. In addition to the timetable for the trial, the judge recommended that the 2 parties commence a mediation process immediately. This is an established process to achieve a resolution for the community and will run alongside the legal process. So I think initially, when you see the dates and times stretching the way away until June the 6th, 2022, it would seem, I'm sure, a lot of people's hearts will sink. But there's a lot of processes along the way there, particularly the mediation, where Wally's Quarry will be having to work with the council, having to give information to the council in an open and transparent way, which hasn't happened before. And that is because of this court case today, and I think substantially moves us forward in trying to find not only a resolution to this, but where this situation went wrong that has led to this catastrophe we've had from the gas smells since of a maximum amount since spring this year, but of course over a long period. But I'm going to bring in now our legal officer, head of legal and monitoring officer, Daniel Dickinson, who was part of the legal team today, along with our brief at the court, just to give any further update and information that I haven't covered in my opening remarks. Daniel. Dan.
Thank you, Leader. I think you've been very comprehensive there, and you've covered off all the key points I would have covered as well. I think you're absolutely right. The important thing to take from today is that the process has started. We've now had our court hearing. Wally's have been compelled to come to the table, and we've now got a very clear timeline for the court processes, and we will be having a 4-week trial in June. If we're not able to dispose of the matter satisfactorily by the mediation process that the court is expecting us to undertake before then. So thank you, Leader.
Just before I bring in members, one of the things I picked up was from the judge sitting in viewing this, was that he clearly wanted this to be a sooner and a quicker process. But of course, the actual process we have to go through, unfortunately, takes this amount of time. And he was quite clear in that. And I believe that's unusual for a judge on this type of case to say that he wanted it to be done quicker. He didn't say it, but I believe in my heart that he was concerned about, obviously, the publicity around this and the case of the odours that were still continuing, and they need to be sorted as soon as possible. So I think it's a process which we will start on and we'll try to do as soon as possible. And we will need the operator, Wallace Quarries Limited, formerly Red Industries, to play ball with this. But we now know that we do have a legal stick behind them because of the court details of the court has set out today and the path to a trial on this case, which is what we're working towards. Stephen.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I'll just reiterate, really. This is very much the first step of a very long, lengthy process. But I also agree with what you said about the judge. It came over loud and clear that he wanted this resolved a long, long time before the case is coming to court, which is scheduled for June. But unfortunately, the amount of work involved, he doesn't think it'll happen. He thinks June's a realistic date, and he's put the dates in his diary. But he obviously has heard of the situation, knows what it's like, and was very anxious that it would come before that. If the mediation option works, you get the feeling that it would be a lot quicker than the full trial, which is in June, which is sort of 8 months away yet. But no, that's the feeling I got, and it is, I believe, unusual for these judges to make these sort of comments. So he's obviously knows the background and the appalling situation our residents have had to live in for the last umpteen years. Thank you, Leader.
Trevor.
Thank you, Leader. No, I agree with Steve there that mediation, it's the key to a swift resolution to this problem. Okay.
Jill.
Yeah, I think it's good news for the residents and for ourselves that we now have a timeline. I think that's the first positive step that we can share with everybody.
Jill. Jill, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Yeah, it's really positive. It's really good news. It does seem a long way off, but I've been told it's a very complex case. May and June next year, I think it will soon come round, and it's on its way now, hopefully, to a resolution to this awful, disgusting problem that there is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Of course, we have a lot of things sort of running in tandem with this, and our report covers, as usual, the complaint figures, the air quality monitoring station data, the data from our Jerome equipment, and also obviously the updates that we know from the Environment Agency on the work that's taking place on the site. But I'll hand over now to our Chief Executive just to take us through the report. Thank you, Martin.
Okay, thanks, Leader. Yeah, it's the report is the format that you've been used to over the last few months. In terms of complaint data, certainly the trend seems to be for complaints now to go to the Environment Agency more so than to ourselves. But for October, the report runs up until September, but for October until the 26th, we've had 169 complaints. So that's well down on September, but still a substantial number of complaints about a single issue, and obviously takes us to almost 21,000 for the year. In terms of the air quality monitoring stations, we've got this weekly report on the percentage of time that the annoyance level, the World Health Organization annoyance level, is breached. And you can see there that for some of the stations, for the last month or so, it's been at or around 0% of time. But we've got this persistent issue at Gallingale, which has always been the highest concentration. Back on sort of coming roughly this time last month, it was about 0.3%, then rose to 5%, 9%. The week that there has been since this paper was produced, which is the 18th to the 24th of October. Gallingale was at 1.5% of the time that annoyance level was breached. So it remains the area that's the particular problem. We have got a couple of handheld Jeromes that are out and about in the community, so that we can see if there are any particular spikes that are coming up there, and we'll be using those both to monitor the situation in the community, but also if they're not picking up spikes, in order to offer some assurance about the gas levels in people's homes.
Could you also update us on the joint group which you set on with the Environment Agency and other partners, particularly on the work that the AO are requiring the operator to do currently, which is the gas wells and also the POSI shell, and also any comments, or if you could take away our concern about some of the news over the last 24 hours, particularly on social media, about the vehicles driving over the POSI shell and obviously destroying it, and also the possibility of vegetation growing out of the POSI shell. This is supposed to be a sealed cover. Well, it can't be if it's been broken by vehicles traveling over. Is it being reinstated? Are the issues to do with the vegetation growing out of it being sorted? Is the EA on top of this? Will the EA act if there's a problem?
Okay, thanks. So the group that you refer to is the Strategic Coordination Group, which involves ourselves, the Environment Agency, the County Council, Public Health England as was, Fire Service, Police, and others that are taking a if you like, a multi-agency approach to looking at this particular issue. Now, the work that the Environment Agency are requiring to have done on site includes the temporary capping, which is the POSI shell, and there's now somewhere in the region of, I think, 70% of the site that has either been temporarily or permanently capped. And in addition, they're increasing the gas collection infrastructure with a range of new wells being introduced. Those were going in over October at a rate of about one a day, with the wells being opened and then either immediately tapped into the system or sealed so that there wasn't any leakage from those while they were being opened. And certainly I saw some of that stuff on social media regarding the POSI shell potentially being compromised, and certainly I'll take that away to the Environment Agency and report back.
Martin, just one last point on the Jerome equipment. The council has got two pieces of equipment for monitoring that can be put into people's homes. I think just to state that we have had a list of residents' properties who wish to take part in some of this monitoring forward to, as we also do have an existing list. I think it will depend on weather conditions and wind direction where we deploy those to get the best evidence. So if people are viewing this and are on, I've given us the details, rest assured that we have those, and at the appropriate time we will contact them to be able to test out the equipment and test the levels within their property. But we do have, and I think looking at Martin, we can say they're deployed currently and will be deployed as much as possible to try and get to the bottom of this problem, and it will be based on intelligence of wind direction and location to try and get the best results. Opening it up now for comments on the general part of the report. And anything, Steve?
Just what I say every time we get this report: don't be totally fooled by the number of zeros on it. If you read 4.3 from this data, it appears that the frequency of incidences when the WHO annoyance threshold is exceeded. So it's not the smell. The smell might be there all the time. When it becomes over the annoyance threshold is what these things, when it's nil. So it might be smell all the time, but it's not the annoyance threshold that's crossed. So don't let people read these zeros and think it's gone away. It'll still smell. It just won't smell as much.
Trevor.
Is two sets of monitoring equipment sufficient for what we're doing? That's what I need to know.
All we can afford, Trevor. Martin, anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite expensive equipment, and we're putting it for a week at a time in different places, so it gives us a good flavour of what's happening.
200% more than we had previously. So we're going in the right direction. But I think a useful piece of equipment that, that we can put inside and leave overnight in households. And I think as Stephen's point's quite right, the look beyond the figures and you see that there are still odours. I've smelt it over the last week in and around the site and up in the Nutton area. And I think it's crucial now as the temperature is now beginning to drop as well. This will be a key test of the posi shell, a key test of the gas wells actually capturing this gas and destroying it. So I think the next few weeks up until Christmas will be crucial to see whether those actions the EA have required the operator to carry out are having some effect. Any other comments before we move on? No? Okay, thank you for that. Recommendations are there before us that we receive the report, obviously, and ensure that we kept up to date on the ongoing problems. And the key news today is that the court has set out a clear path to a trial on this case, which the council has brought through its abatement notice. And obviously the appeal hearing took place, the preliminary appeal hearing took place today. Moving then to our second item on the agenda today, which is the One Council update. Pleased to bring this to us. We've heard a lot about the One Council. We talked about it at full council. We talked about it at this cabinet before. This is a report that brings it all together on an update for us, which talks about the One Front Door, which is the revamp of the front shop, so to speak, along with a new website and also a new way of dealing with our residents' contacts with the council more efficiently. I think this helps us towards what has been our goal for the past 4 years. One of our key, the first council priority was to provide local services that work for local people. It's using the IT we have now and the leap in IT that we've taken for mobile working, for the use of virtual meetings, and also for that technology that we use to ensure that we don't pass paper around the building. Officers aren't passing paper to each other, handheld technology to ensure that if somebody reports an issue to the borough, that it's dealt with as soon as possible. Also, we've taken learning from the COVID period, an absolute upheaval in the way we've worked over the past 18 months, getting on for long, almost as we get into the new year, it'll be 2 years. And I think we've put that learning into this One Council programme. And also when we're looking at our budgets, we know we've got tight budgets and we're looking to make savings. So we're looking to work more efficiently, and that is enabling savings to be brought forward. And that's detailed under 2.9 of the report. I'm sure Steve will say something about that. But talking about some of the areas which this report covers, it's on about the leadership and management of the council. It's information, advice and guidance on the website, that for, pointing people to where they can resolve any issues they have at the first point, which is on the website, which they can do 24 hours a day. And a brand new website was launched a week or so ago, which has been gradually rolled out through all the service areas on the website. The One Front Door, which I talk about, is bringing that slick customer service operation that the residents will see their inquiries dealt with more efficiently and resolved. And that's the mobiling of the team, mobile functioning of the team, which I talked about. And then also that strategy and policy at the centre of the council, which dictates and ensures that we ensure the things we decide in this room as a cabinet and the things we decide as a council as a whole are carried through efficiently and in place to see the benefits which we hope to see. Now, we have some values and we have some to affect our culture. They are under page 13, empowering our enabling our staff. Make sure we're performing well and getting things done, working together as I would not just say officers, but also as elected members working with officers, putting the people first as part of the culture, getting the achievement from that and also celebrating that achievement and those successes, and also the shared goals which come out of working together. I've touched on the fact that we've got our new website. I think the new One Front Door I've talked about, and the mobile functioning will have a massive step change for the way the council officers operate in the back office. And we have some financial savings that come out of this that will be key to the MTFS over the next few years. So that's my introduction, but I'll pass to Steve now to talk about those MTFS.
Yeah, I think there's one thing that's come out of COVID. It just shows that things can be done a different way and things can carry on, which I think is kind of the most important thing on this is 2.1 issues, and the second half of it, alongside a benchmarking exercise which placed the customer and delivery of services at centre stage. It's very easy to say that this is all about saving money, and that is part of it, but it's not at the risk of dropping our standards as a council. And I think this is vital, is place the customer and delivery of services at centre stage, which is at the end of the day what we're all here for, isn't it? I think the savings, if you have a look, is 923,000 over 3 years. Now that's £923,000 saved every year forever. It's not just a one-off thing. It's forever and ever and ever. So that sort of money, it's part of our MTFS for the future, and it's one of the benefits of this. But it's not at the cost of damaging our services to our residents, who, of course, what the whole point of having a council in the first place is. Thank you, Sam.
So on that, the point that the savings are not about salami slicing staff out of the organisation. I think the previous Labour administration went through that, and the result of that was the failure in the 2017 general election that cost the previous leader her position, and also the previous chief exec. That was because key staff weren't in place across the organisation. This is not about that, and staff savings will be made through this, but they will be made through for the natural wastage and the early retirements and other sorts of things, and retirements in general. But also we'll be making sure that we upskill our officers, so when vacancies become available, we can fill them from within the existing workforce by bringing on the succession policy, etc., in key roles. I think Newcastle Borough Council has always been seen as a family council. Everybody lives locally. Some actual generations of families have worked for the council, and I think we should be growing our own talent. And I think through the one council approach, that is what we want to do, and we'll achieve through this. I'll open it up now to general comments from any cabinet members. Trevor.
Thanks, Leader. It's a quick one. I'm a techno moron. I really am. And I find this an absolute pleasure to navigate through. I'm very pleased with it. Thank you.
New website, Jill?
Yeah, I'm quite pleased. There's a two-pronged attack with this, that anybody that, like yourself, Trevor, is not very technically minded, is able to do the self-service. But of course, I really like the idea that for people that just don't feel they can do that, they can still pick the phone up and speak to somebody.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I think it's good that we're making progress with this report, and it definitely will save the council money. I've had a few concerns in the past about people being propelled to self-serve, but I do think, Councillor Sweeney's just mentioned that we will not be dropping our standards here, so that's really good to hear. I think some self-serve procedures are easy for the younger generation because they've grown up with it and they're used to it, but older people do find it difficult. So I would like to see perhaps in the next report a bit more about the more face-to-face that we're doing. And I'm really pleased to hear some good news that the Kidsgrove Customer Service Centre is opening tomorrow, 9 till 1. So that's going to be face-to-face appointments for people living in Kidsgrove, which is a long way from Castle House, if they don't feel they can do things online. So I think it's all moving in the right direction. And, I think as long as we can help people we can serve those that can't serve themselves, then, it's all round, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. And two valid points you've made there. I think, yes, as it says in the report, a commitment to that face-to-face for those people that need it. And of course, you're quite right. Tomorrow, for the first time since before the pandemic, the customer service centre in Kidsgrove will open up to the public between those hours, and it will be a partnership with the Kidsgrove Town Council. It will be opening for the first time as well, and they've agreed to do the same hours as us for a start as we relaunch there. And I think it's important that we do that, and for the reason you said, Jill. So that's included within that. And we've got the recommendations before us. The Cabinet recognises the progress on the One Council programme on those key areas of One Front Door Customer Hub, leadership and management, and the website that's offering those services, that advice and guidance. I'd like to add a second recommendation recorded that this report is referred to the Finance and Performance Scrutiny Committee at its next meeting for them to scrutinise this. So that's a B I want to add to the recommendations. All agreed? Thank you. Moving back to our agenda then, item 6 is the Finance and Performance Review Report second quarter. As always, we first do the finance side of this, and then we'll go on to performance. So hand over to Steve for the finance bit.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah. At the close of the second quarter, the general fund budget continues to show a balanced position. It's forecast this position will be achieved at the close of the financial year. Income losses from fees and charges are forecast to amount to 1.117 million by the close of the year. Other income losses, another 185,000. However, these income losses are forecast to be offset in full by COVID-related government funding of £901,000 and £360,000 compensation for the income loss scheme. Now, you might have heard me talk about the for every pound we lose, we get 75% back for the first quarter. That's what that £360,000 is. So once again, the government has seen the problems and has realised the losses, and obviously local authorities like this are vital to the COVID recovery plans, and the government has done what it's done all along. Really, it's made up for the shortages that we've had to go. For the first quarter of 21-22, eligible business rate payers in the retail sector have been awarded 100% relief and will be awarded 66% relief for the remainder of the year. Now, this again, if businesses aren't paying any business rates, then we're not getting money off them. But once again, the government, as Section 31 grant, will make up the difference. So again, we don't actually lose the money. Capital expenditure is currently in line with the profile spend expected with no significant variances. A mid-year review of the capital programme is in the process of being undertaken as part of the efficiency board and budget setting process for 22-23 in order to identify any projects that may need to be reprofiled from 21-22 into future years. The results of this exercise will be reported to Cabinet in due course. We're in a very balanced sort of position halfway through the year, and I'm very content with both the revenue and the capital budgets at the moment. I think we're on course for balanced budgets at the end of the year, which is in the day what we try to achieve. Thank you, Leila.
Thank you. Any comments on the financial side of the report? Don't see any. Moving then to the performance, 75% of our indicators are on track. The rest, I don't see any reds, even though I've got a black and white copy. But I'm sure. Also, we've added, which is good for me. Also, we've added just an extra status tick for all of because we were actually debate pace at the scrutiny committee when the last quarter of these were viewed, and it was felt we needed to add a bit more information. So we've added a nice tick for people to show that, all because there's no status doesn't mean there's no performance. There's a tick in the right direction. And that's explained in the legend at the bottom, how that is translated into the reports. So we go through this page by page, looking at portfolio by portfolio. First one is the local services work for local people. Got a raft of indicators for Trevor there. Any comments on those? Put your light on, Trevor.
Sorry, Leader. Say everything is expected.
As it says in the comments there, recovering from the COVID situation, isn't it? As we pick up on the percentages again.
Yeah.
Page 2 there, we're talking again customer and IT there, as you'll see on the calls answered, and also on the requests for first point of resolve. There is a triangle there, but I think as you can read in the legend there, there's a lot of changes taking place to prepare for the one front door, but also the increased with council tax recovery, and also the updating of the elections requires more people contacting the council during this particular quarter. And then looking at the revs and bends at the bottom there, Steve, any comments?
Well, the first two are excellent. The third one, as I say, is slightly off target, but it might well be due to businesses sort of reopening and starting trade again. And I think it'd be more interesting to say another 3 months to see if that's caught up. Remember, they've got 12 months to do this in, not just the 6 months to the first year. It can catch up over the year. So it'll be interesting in the next quarter. Thank you.
Over the page, obviously human resources there, the employment sickness count is showing as a green. That's been a bit of obviously a bit of a warning triangle recently. So I'm pleased to see that's gone back into green. And I think looking at our key services, which Trevor runs, issues with sickness particularly in this COVID environment, haven't been the problem we probably thought they would be. So we're able to keep those bin collections going, keep those streets being cleaned, and keep those planning applications being processed. So that's all good, and a credit to our staff, whether they're coming back into the office more and more are, or whether they're working from home still at this period. Moving on to our second priority, which is growing our peoples and place. We've got, obviously, for Paul, I will cover the planning ones. And as you can see there, just a list of green stars, green smiley faces, you could say, touching back on the scrutiny debate. And I think that's a testament to our staff there in planning that we're getting these planning applications through. Obviously, planning applications have been rising since the end of lockdowns. People start to think, well, I'm going to go for that in extension, or I'm going to go for, rewake that housing development, etc. So I'm glad to see that we're dealing with those at a speedy process and within our targets. And it's good to see those green. Moving on then to our third priority, which is healthy and active, safe borough. Got Jill Heasom with the first two community safety ones there. You now have a tick in them where before it was an empty space, so it shows that they're doing well. But any reports on those?
No, I think they're pretty much as expected, but I would like to say I think it's going to make a huge improvement now that the CCTV is live and we've got the marshals that have begun work in the town centre.
And then on to the other Jill Wary, not the other Jill, two equal Jills. Jill Wary I think that green star on the museum is a very easy one because the museum is still closed while we do the renovations, and it will be opening hopefully early next year. But on the other side of the page is the one about the growing membership, which I think we should talk about, is the recovery of J2, not only the recovery in the status of the building as we get all those problems sorted out, which have dogged it for many years, but on the membership, Jill.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Yeah, the current membership is 2,100, so it's going in the right direction. We are fully open. The sauna suite now is complete. We're having new equipment in the gym. Swimming lessons and swimming are increasing, and things are looking good at J2 at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Then on to our last priority, the last but not least, a town centre for all. We've got a series of markers there for us to look at to do on the town centre. One of them is the market, the other one is parking and footfall. But Steve, any comments on your two there, particularly the market?
There's loads of exciting stuff happening in the market, as you'd expect. On this Sunday, we've got a dog-themed market. I see Chief Exec looking a bit quizzical there. I don't quite know how that works, but there's 44 stores, and they seem to think they might sell a whole lot out. Organised by Graham Gaff, I believe. And then there's third Sunday of every month, we've got the Artisan Market. And of course, we've got on the 28th of November, we've got a Christmas Castle Artisan Market. And on the 5th of December, we have the Winter Vegan Festival. I'm not a vegan, I must be said, but the one I went to before was very, very, very busy. So it's certainly, if you read COP, whatever the thing is we don't talk about now, it certainly seems to be the way forward. And there's a lot of people in town buying vegan-y sort of things. So, and different people from what we normally have, which again is more people coming to the town, seeing what a vibrant town centre can be. And I think it's basically good news. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, I mean, I went to the vegan market. I'm not vegan, but I really enjoyed the experience and brought some things as well, really, which is great. I can't wait to go to the next one. We're looking forward to the one on Sunday. Then I don't own a dog, don't want to own a dog, but I want to go along and see what, just out of curiosity. And I think people will go down, and I hope the weather will be nice, even if cold and brisk, but still nice. I think if we look at those, quarter two is a quarter when we've been ramping up the market, isn't it, and getting back to some normality after the Freedom Day, which wasn't quite a Freedom Day, but eventually became Freedom Day after it was delayed a bit. And you can see some of the markets there, and we've had, and and the weekly market is buoyant, isn't it? I think again, testament to our markets officer Nick, and also to the market traders, and for example, the people that run the artisan market have made it really successful, and all the others that we're having. So a really good story to tell on the market. And I think car parking there, is increasing and up 28% as we show the recovery. We've got a very competitive parking pricing system in Newcastle now, with the £1 after one, and in the run up to Christmas until the New Year, we've got obviously free from morning until 1 p.m. in the prime Midway car park in the town centre. So I think if anybody wants to come into Newcastle, pick your time, and you can park very competitively, if not for free, which I think you can't do in other areas. And particularly when there's a market on, which is a Sunday, it's free parking on town centre car parks anyway. So come into town, enjoy it. We've got a lot, as Steve said, a lot of events coming up to Christmas. Come and enjoy it. I think on the back of the press release today, which Jill was involved in, to say we've got the town centre marshals in town to deal with some of those problems which all town centres have got, rough sitters and people like that, and also people that want to cause antisocial behaviour. Tied with our CCTV, we were making a safer town, and that's in operation now. And those guys are out and about in town, making sure people are safe, working with the bid. We've got their ambassadors out as well. And also the police are putting numbers into town when they can with all other issues they have to deal with. So I think it's going in the right direction, and those indicators show that. So really pleasing. So that's the performance data. We're asked to review it and comment. We have done. All agreed? Thank you. Moving then to our forward plan, which is our list of cabinet items coming up now into the new year for the next 3 months. It's attached to the report as we usually do. We go through it page by page and any comments. Do we agree page 43, which is the November, which we're in at the moment, and those items coming up for December? All agreed? Over to page 44 and so on page 45, agreeing those that take us up to the end of February, beginning of February, which include the budget setting, which of course will ramp up as we approach that period when we set the budget at the end of February. All agreed? Back to our agenda, item 8, urgent business, haven't received any. Urgent 9, disclosure of exempt information. We haven't got any confidential items today, so no need to exclude the public. Attendance at cabinet meetings, haven't received any indication from members, non-members of cabinet that they wish to speak. And I haven't received any members of the public that wish to speak within those criteria set out in the agenda. But just before I close, I'd just like to say this is our first cabinet meeting since we've had the announcement on Monday that we are now a majority of Conservative councillors. That's the first time since the early 70s. I'd just like to welcome the 4 councillors, Ken Owen, Simon White, Gary White and Bert Proctor over to the Conservatives who are formerly independent. It makes a strong Conservative group with a direction. I think anybody that's listened to this cabinet meeting today or watched it on YouTube will see that we have a strong direction. We set our priorities 4 years ago and we're delivering on those, and we're dealing with things that come out of the blue like COVID and also the Wally's Quarry with the court case, the court hearing today on the path to a trial, and also mediation hopefully before, which will relieve this issue that's causing such a problem for so many people and hold Wally's Quarry and Red Industries, formerly Red Industries, to account. So really pleased to announce that at Cabinet today. And that concludes our agenda for today. Thank you.